Good evening. I'm Jeff Harris. I'm a part of the 125th Anniversary Celebration Committee. Welcome to this evening's organ recital featuring First United Methodist organist Karen Taylor. We are so glad that you have joined us to be a part of this 125th anniversary celebration of the founding of First United Methodist Church in historic downtown Mesa. A lot of church going has gone on before us, right here. Music and the arts is an integral part of the mission of First Church, and tonight's recital features the Dobson organ. One thing about the Dobson organ before Gavin will tell you, I've been to Lake City, Iowa, where this was built. I've been in the building where they actually built this organ. And in Lake City, this takes up a whole section of the building. Our organ would have fit in that building very tightly. Lake City, when you approach this town, it's a very small community in central Iowa, and you approach and you're thinking, Lake City. There's a sign that's a big billboard that says, Lake City, everything except the lake. The nearest lake is miles away. The city founders, I don't know how they came to be, decide that name, but it was a marvelous building, and I'll let Gavin talk about that organ. Proceeds from tonight's concert, we are going to have a free will in the back. There'll be 2 plates in the back, and you can contribute to those if you will. Those proceeds, the entire proceeds of tonight's giving, is going to go to students who want to study the organ. We're going to send these dollars to the American Guild of Organists in Arizona so that they can disperse those funds to young folks and or older folks who are in the pursuit of the study of the organ. I think that's a wonderful purpose. So, prior to the evening, as we go along, we have Bob Rice, who's a member of the church. He has developed a brief history of First Church and its place in our community. We're going to take a few minutes right now to show that video, and then we'll get on with the organ recital. We are so happy that you're with us this evening in this space, this beautiful space. All are always welcome in this space. Let's see the video.
125 years ago, Arizona was going through difficult times. Drought, closure of mines, and low prices for wool. But the United Methodist Missionary Society didn't give up on Arizona because a new church life was beginning in Mesa. In 1892, Dr. E.W. Wilbur began a Sunday school in his barn. A year later, in 1893, this became the site of the First United Methodist Episcopal Church with 9 adults and 6 children. In 1895, Dr. Wilbur purchased parcels where the columbarium stands now and built the very first church structure in Mesa, a small brick chapel. Membership grew so quickly that in 1913, a second, larger church was built on the site. This was a beautiful Spanish colonial-style structure, complete with a bell tower. In 1945, the church changed its name to First United Methodist Church. As people flocked to Mesa after the war, a campaign to build a third church began in 1949. The John Dobson family provided a memorial gift to purchase the corner lot of First Street and Center. The very first part of the church built was the 120-foot tower, built in 1954. And it remains an iconic feature of downtown Mesa. The final phase of the project, the Sunday school classroom and Earl North Hall, were completed in 1960. Meanwhile, for many years, the second church structure became the worship space for the Tongan United Methodist Church. The lovely stained glass windows deserve note. They were designed by Maureen McGuire, who had received a master's degree in liturgical design from Pope Pius XII Institute in Florence, Italy. She also designed the carved nativity-themed wooden entry doors. During 1993, the 100th year of the church, the centennial organ was dedicated. 25 years later, this magnificent organ remains at the heart of the church's music ministry. The rich music history of the Mesa Methodist Church began in 1893 with the first orchestra. Throughout the years, there have been many youth, adult, and bell choirs. Currently, the church also hosts external music groups, from local church high school choirs to the Sonoran Desert Chorale. The columbarium was dedicated in 2001 in memory of Charles and Florence Mitten. Its bell tower is the same one from the 1913 church. The Mildred Fitch Family Life Center, a 37,000 square foot building, was dedicated on February 29, 2004. It houses a gym, a dining room area, classrooms, and a choir room. In 2014, the City of Mesa recognized First United Methodist Church as an historic landmark, and it is considered the oldest church campus in continuous use in Mesa. First United Methodist Church continues its vision of ministry of continuous spiritual growth, ministry with children and youth and families in all their diversity, and a ministry of music and the arts. Some of the many ministries include Faith in Action, Habitat for Humanity, Junior and Adult Wesley Closets, Love Knots, Ugly Quilts, Youth Missions, an annual foster program, I Help, Office Helping Hands, and Global Mission Ministries. For the last 125 years, First United Methodist Church has been a beacon of Christ's love in the heart of Mesa. And we look forward to living our mission through our ministry for the people of Mesa for the next 125 years.
Wasn't that wonderful? Thank you, Bob. Good evening. My name is Gavin Rittenhouse. I'm the Music Ministry Director of First United Methodist Church of Mesa. We're so glad to have you here this evening. This year is the 125th anniversary of our church, but it's also the 25th year of us celebrating the Dobson organ. In May, we had a celebration and a service to commemorate the organ with Bonnie Loney at the helm. It was built by the Dobson Organ Company, as you've heard, precisely to the specifications of this sanctuary. This organ and sanctuary are a center point for many music events in the East Valley. As you can see, we're not just services here on Sunday mornings, but throughout the week. We were thrilled to have Dr. Bonnie Loney play the organ for over 19 years, as well as accompanying choirs at our church. Now I want to speak of a spectacular person, which we have all come to listen to tonight. Karen Taylor was hired in September as our new organist and chancel choir accompanist. It was purely by accident that I met Karen. I was working with somebody here in the sanctuary. She showed up to practice organ per her requested Central Arizona Guild of Organists time, voluntary time. I had no idea what was going on. I didn't understand when I saw her. I was like, okay, do you want to use the organ? Sure, let's do it. When actually, she was supposed to be at Central United Methodist Church in downtown Phoenix. This just happened to be the same time we were searching for a new organist. So, the rest is history. Karen has worked with accompanying high school and honor and show choirs, not to mention the Phoenix Symphony Chorus. She has played for the choir Pro Musica and numerous community Handel Messiah performances. You cannot discount all the students she has helped to nurture as a piano teacher. Every year she taught, she said she had 50 students on average. Karen currently is studying for her doctorate in organ performance at Arizona State University. Karen is a real godsend. She plays here on Sunday mornings, then runs her own church to help with music there, which is in 30 minutes away on the other side of Phoenix. Her personality is warm and welcoming. Karen, I think it is no accident that you have been placed here at First United Methodist Church. Please help me in giving a warm welcome to Karen Taylor.
That was a really funny moment when I figured out I had come to the wrong church. It's only, someone told me it was a God moment. If you show up in the right place at the wrong time, or the right time at the wrong place, yeah, that's something I would do. But no, it was the right place and it was the right moment for sure. And I feel extremely privileged to be here tonight. Thank you for having me. I also want to add just a few things about this magnificent instrument that you are going to hear tonight. And I hope what you're listening to is this beautiful creature behind me. It is a living creature. It breathes and it sings. It's amazing. So one of the first things you'll notice about it is that it doesn't have a movable console. Some organs that you see, pipe organs, you can move the console all over the place. That's because they are attached to the pipes by an electric cable. This is built actually into the pipes themselves, and it's connected with over 200 little thin wooden, they're called trackers. They're like rods. And so every time I push down a key, a wooden tracker behind that instrument, behind there, activates a valve on the pipe that it belongs to, and that pipe literally opens its mouth and sings. And that's what they call it. They call it the mouth. And sometimes you'll see decorations on a pipe with faces, and the mouth of the pipe is the mouth of the face. It's really fun. Okay, now, so the wonderful thing about having it in such close contact with the pipes is that it becomes touch sensitive. So, standing next to a piano, if I play the piano hard or soft, I get a loud or a soft sound. This is also touch sensitive, amazingly, but not loud, soft touch sensitive. It's sensitive to how fast I push down the keys and how fast I release them. So there's a gentle way to play it, and it's worth learning. Let's see, what else did I want to tell you? Oh, if you have a chance tonight and you want to walk up here, on this other side, behind here, there is the signature of the artisans who built the organ, and it's right on the back of the case. I don't have to open it. If you want to see it, just make sure it's a little dark, so if you have a phone with a flashlight on it, turn it on, and you can actually see where they all signed it. This is not an uncommon thing for organ builders to sign their works of art, and that would be really fun for you. Speaking of cell phones, can everyone please silence their cell phones? That would be good. Now, one more thing to talk to you just about organs in general. Organs have been around for 3 million, sorry, not million. We would be going back to Jurassic. 3,000, let's try that. Sometimes there seems like a lot of repertoire. 3,000 years. Only the last 1,000 years has it been known as a sacred instrument. For which it is eminently suited. In the Middle Ages, around 1200, we saw a huge expansion of cathedral building, and that's when organs also began to just be built in the cathedrals. You think Notre Dame in Paris, and you'll be right on track. But before that, the 2,000 years before that, there were all kinds of different organs. There were some that stood up apart from themselves. There were little hand organs that had little bellows, kind of like an accordion, that you would pump. And one of the pictures that you're going to be watching on the screen tonight will show you a little pump organ like that. Aren't you glad that I'm not going to ask any of you to pump the wind for me tonight? It takes an awful lot of muscles to do that, and I know, because a couple summers ago I went to a medieval organ and I had to help pump for our recording on it, and this was in England, and it's hard work. Think of pumping a railroad car, right? A hand car on the railroad track. That's what it's like to pump wind for an organ. It's hard work. So tonight's program features several biblical events. I thought about titling it Epic Moments of the Bible, but then I thought maybe that would be a little bit assuming too much. Katie, thank you very much for doing our pictures. Katie M., I really appreciate it. Because, and I'll give you a tip, because sometimes people don't know when to clap. If I don't get off the bench, don't clap. It's that easy. Don't be the first to clap. Wait for me to get off. It'll be okay. I won't feel funny about that. And I say that on purpose because there's a couple of places where I want three pieces to come together with no clapping in between, or two pieces to come together with no clapping. And you'll see how that goes. And so we start with in the beginning, as the Bible starts. And the Peer Gynt Suite, which is the first thing that I will be playing, I'm sure you will recognize it. Everybody knows this. It's been adapted for organ, although it was for symphony. 2 years ago, when I was traveling to an organ conference, surprisingly, in the Midwest, a Masonic lodge opened its doors to our conference so that we could see their recently restored 1900s organ. And so they let us in their lodge, and there was this vintage stage and old curtains, and the curtains rolled back, and this 1900 organ started playing this piece that I'm going to play for you tonight. And tucked on the stage and all around were beautiful vintage stage props, illuminations, the original stage sets for the rituals that they had in their lodge. It was one of the loveliest pieces of Americana that I have ever seen. And a lovely pastoral scene accompanied this piece. So I hope you enjoy it. By the way, that dates back to about the same time as this congregation was organized 125 years ago. know you're going to love this one. So all of you know the story of David and Goliath. This is all about David and Goliath, what's coming up. So this is by Dietrich Buxtehude, who was 50 years before Bach. In fact, young Bach, when he was 19, walked 3 days to visit Dietrich Buxtehude. And when he came back, he lost his job because he was imitating some of the more outrageous harmony and strategy of Dietrich Buxtehude. Anyway, this story of David and Goliath, you're going to love, because if you just listen to the pedal, you'll hear Goliath and all his bragging and his taunting. And then you'll hear David coming in the fingers. And he's cocky and young. And you'll be able to hear this. And then they have a fight, and we call that a fugue. and then there's a victory dance, and we call that a chaconne. And that's where the armies of Israel danced for joy. And that's the story. Now, Buxtehude has a trademark style called Stilus Fantasticus, which means that things go off in bursts like fireworks. And it's really, really fun and really amazing pedal solos. So this is entirely suited to the story of David and Goliath, and I'm not making this up. That is, legend has it that this is about that story in the Bible. Tonight, we're fortunate to hear an American premiere. I have a friend on Facebook who is an Italian composer and organist, and he featured a video of himself playing a piece that he had composed several years ago called a tiento. And I wrote to him and said, I would really like to have that. That is such a pretty little piece. And so he gave it to me and asked me if I could record it on the Baroque Trieri organ, which has mean tone tuning at ASU. It's actually older. It's older than Bach, this organ that we have at ASU. And so this lovely prelude that you're about to hear, this is the first time it's been performed in the United States of America. It's called a tiento, which some of you who maybe speak Spanish might recognize that is the word for temptation. It's not really of temptation. It's also a word for testing, which is what the function of a prelude was in those days. The musicians would come out, and instead of getting the audience to be quiet by playing a prelude, they would test out the keyboard. That's testing, or a tiento. And their testing of the keyboard also allowed the other musicians to adjust to the tuning of that instrument, because all instruments were tuned differently. So this is a tiento, and it is an homage to Antonio Cabazon, who was a composer in Spain in 1511. The next two pieces go together, so I won't get off the bench. They are about, boy, it sounds like I'm a judge or something, getting off the bench. Noel Suisse. Now, we hear in the Bible that the shepherds were sore afraid. I think I'd be sore afraid if I heard this too. This is a French Noel. So it is. It uses the signature French reed chorus, which is very strong and very powerful. And I'm going to be using all 3 different manuals with reeds, different reeds on all 3 different manuals on this organ. So you'll hear them talking to each other, and it gives a quite the stereophonic sound, and you can imagine. Also, I will be using the cymbal stern, and I should tell you that the cymbal stern was given in loving memory of Louis Farney on this organ. The cymbal stern, do you see that star right under the apex of the cross? You watch that and you'll see that it's spinning around and around, and that's the indicator of the bells. So the bells will be going. They're mechanical. All I do is I start them and I stop them. I don't actually dictate what they're doing. But it's really super fun. And the bells, the cymbal stern, is known as a class of stops on the organ called toys. We have our toys. They are my toy. So you'll. This is the Noel Suisse, is the announcement of Christ's birth to the shepherds, and you'll hear them running with haste. They do run in this piece, and then there'll be a moment of silence, and we will see what they saw in the lovely Berceuse by Louis Vierne. This is called Berceuse because it means cradle song, and I hope that you can imagine the newborn babe in Mary's arms. have to tell you, it just doesn't feel right to take the credit for such a lovely, lovely piece. Louis Vierne wrote that for his, he was blind. He was a blind French composer. He wrote that for his newborn child. He had a really rough life. And I won't go into the details because it would make you sad. But yeah. Now we're going to proceed to the baptism of Christ, and I've chosen to use Shall We Gather at the River. Even though the words to this song reference a heavenly river, I'm thinking of it as in Jordan River. And more than likely, the earliest congregation of this church that you're sitting in probably knew this song and sang it because it was written 30 years before this congregation was first organized by American poet and hymnist Robert Lowry. Richard Elliott, who is currently the organist at the Tabernacle on Temple Square, arranged it, and he is just, he likes to do a lot with his feet, so it's interesting. Now, one question I get asked a lot when I play the organ is, how loud does this play? And I'm going to show you tonight. So I'm just giving you a clue. The last 3, 4, 5 seconds of the piece, I'm going to push what's known as the sforzando button. It's like the red button to China, the red phone to China. Okay? It actually has a glowing red button. Only I can see it, though you can't see it. And that's glowing to remind me that I have it on so that I don't forget to turn it off. I sure hope I don't forget to turn it off. One of my friends actually was playing for a Casa de Cristo service in Scottsdale on Sunday, and she forgot to turn off the sforzando button. That was sad. Things happen. So yes, if you have sensitive ears, you might want to cover them up. You'll still hear. almost forgot to turn it off. Okay, the next three pieces are our final pieces, and I've chosen to use them as a triptych so that you can ponder what they mean to you. I've asked Gavin Rittenhouse to set the tone for us by singing a Latin 9th century hymn called Ubi Caritas. I did not put the translation on the program. It's generally used to remind us of the washing of the feet during the Last Supper with the injunction to love each other.
Caritas eramus, Deus est, congregavit nos in unum, Christi amor, exultemus et in ipsum iucundemus, timeamus